An absolutely splendid day here on the lake in Syracuse, Indiana. We're on Lake Wawasee and we're updating an existing lakeside landscape. And Mark, it's an existing landscape that you had a part in just, 2 decades ago, right, for the first time?
That's right, Craig. And it's been an ongoing relationship over many, many years, and it's always been a spectacular home, and the owners here absolutely love their landscaping.
Well, one of the challenges here, and you told me this before we went on, was to kind of make it look like nothing had been done. Is that the right way to say it? I mean, you want to update it, but you don't want it to look like, oh, here's the new and here's the work we did 20 years ago.
Sounds weird, but you're absolutely correct. And so what we did was actually bring in some fairly mature, larger specimen plants to blend the new with the old. And of course, that was a challenge, but I think the end results here, it's really hard to tell.
It is very hard. First time that I've been here to the property, and certainly looking around, I really honestly can't say what maybe you've done in the last few weeks or what's been here for a few years. So nice job to you.
Well, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges, Mark, coming into this property. We mentioned one of them already, trying to blend the old with the new, but what were some of the other challenges?
Well, to the viewers left here is the driveway leading up to the garage, and as the homeowners were backing out, the plants had become so mature that it was actually creating kind of a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
And so we added a couple of specimen plantings here that won't get real tall. This beautiful red Japanese lace leaf maple, prized for those beautiful burgundy colored leaves, and then a very unique and unusual multi-grafted conifer patio tree there. It's a little dwarf Hinoki cypress grafted on top of a gold thread cypress, and that's going to max out at about 4 feet in height.
That's very unique, isn't it?
It is very unique, and the
cool.
homeowners here do have an appreciation for kind of the rare and unusual.
Talk a little bit, Mark, about the ground cover, and again, getting back to some of the challenges. Making the old look new again, that's a bit of a challenge with the ground cover.
Well, this is our Western Sunset ground cover. It's got a range of colors in it, and what I like is not only does the landscape add color, the ground cover adds color here as well. Very, very low maintenance. Most of the stone ground cover dates back to almost 20 years ago. But we did want to freshen up the beds. In some areas it was starting to get a little thin and tired, and other areas we put in some expanded beds.
All right, well, talk a little bit more about what you've done, Mark, and your crew.
Well, as you walk around here, you're going to see light fixtures incorporated in here. We've got spotlights that are highlighting a lot of the specimen trees. This is a Hindu pan pine, nice focal point that we've got here in the front yard. It's well lit in the evening, and we're featuring this stacked sandstone wall, just giving it a slight elevation here, so it's got a nice prominent location.
Now, is the stacked sandstone wall, is sandstone, is that something new?
Well, it's
Come on,
hard to
tell
tell. No, but this was here with the original landscape.
Yeah.
We did have another topiary here. It had just really gotten beyond its usefulness, and so we picked out a nice new specimen for there.
All right, very good. What else, Mark?
Well, as we wrap around the corner here, Craig, many years ago we put in this brick sidewalk here, and this is withholding the test of time here. Our crew back then did really nice detail work with the soldier course and the intricate cuts that you see here. And then we also created this annual flower bed here. We've got these bright pink begonias, which give us a color after our azaleas are done blooming.
Well, I want to stop right now and just let you know that 20 years ago you put this in, and that is one of the greatest signs of all, isn't it? To know that this still looks level, and you must have done something right back then to lay the foundation properly.
It definitely has withstood the test of time here. So.
Congratulations. That is a telltale sign right there that you've done a good job.
Well, thank you. So plantings that you see behind you, these are actually part of the original landscape. We just simply updated with some nice ferns on each side of the light fixture. And then we've added some perennial flowers in here. We've got some moonbeam coreopsis, which are just starting to develop some flower buds here. Those are going to be blooming with some bright yellow daisy-like type of flowers.
Yeah, we've talked about those on the show before, haven't we?
Good memory, Craig. And then the evergreen hedge that we had in here, because those windows are so low, it was starting to get a little too crowded, and so just put in a fresh new boxwood hedge, which we'll be able to get another 20 years worth of use out of it.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. What's next here?
Well, this little dwarf flowering crabtree, which isn't so dwarf, but this is about a 25-year-old specimen crabtree. Blooms with beautiful pink flowers in the springtime. We had another specimen tree here that had gotten past its usefulness, and this is actually one of our new plantings here. So nice mature tree. It had a beautiful show of color on it this spring, and what I like is that it has these burgundy colored leaves after it's done blooming.
So how many more years do you figure you'll get on that tree there?
Not only this tree, but the rest of the landscape, we certainly should get another 20 years.
Wow, fantastic.
I'll be 73 years old then.
Well, I'll be a little older. That's good to know. What about this?
This was an expanded island bed that we just put in. I love this little dwarf Hinoki cypress pom-pom here. Nice sculpted tree. We've got our knockout roses, which continue to bloom all spring, summer, and fall. And then one of Deb's favorite is the little dwarf lilac tree. And you can see where it was just loaded with lilac flowers here. Just finished up its bloom cycle. But a little miniature dwarf tree here gives us a nice seasonal color in the springtime.
Now, I certainly wouldn't call this a living fence, but it does give a nice barrier, doesn't it, between the properties?
Absolutely. And also when they're inside the house looking out, kind of softens the structure that we see across the street.
Very good. Well, some other interesting design in the back, and there's some water back there too, right?
There is, Lake Wawasee.
Well, let's go take a look, huh?
Okay.
Well, we're continuing here on Lake Wawasee, updating an existing lakeside landscape. And Mark, when you're on a lake, really the backyard becomes the front yard many times, right?
You're right. I'm sure there's more people that see this side of the house than they see from the street side.
Yeah, it's beautiful back here. It's so calming. I tell you what, you couldn't get a better environment to have some family fun in the backyard, which is really the front yard. Talk about those special plant specimens that you brought in here on the side.
Well, it's actually the largest ones that you see here. We framed the corner of the house with that 10-foot tall spiral juniper. Gives us some height as well as some interest. This 12-foot tall red Japanese bloodgood maple was another recent installation. And Craig, this is one of my favorites here. This is a very rare Japanese maple called a lion's head Japanese maple. You know why it's called lion's head Japanese maple?
I've got an idea, but go ahead, help me out.
Well, you see these tight clusters of leaves here.
Sure.
Those represent a lion's mane, and just very small miniature Japanese maple leaves, and this puts on a beautiful show of color in the fall, turns bright gold.
I love it, and some real depth to it too.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. What else here, Mark?
Well, we've got a splash of color. Just planted some deep red begonias here, which can be viewed from the lake. We've got landscape lighting here. The path light lights up the annuals. We also see a lot of spotlights around here. This is a recent bloodgood Japanese maple that we just planted. The other one was actually encroaching upon the door there. And then this is kind of the jewel of the backyard here.
Yeah, this is awesome here. And there were some challenges here, right, Mark?
Well, the homeowner's master bedroom is behind us, and looking out over the lake, over the years that view had really been diminished because of the maturity of the plant material. And so we wanted to bring things in here that are small, dwarf, and compact, and things that would not really block their view of the lake.
Well, you've done a nice job with all of that. Well, the homeowners are happy, needless to say, with another go-round. It was 20 years ago that they started with you, and Deb, she seems very, very pleased with your work so far.
She does.
Well, let's chat with her a little bit. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Well, Deb is one of the homeowners here. Deb, good to see you. Tell us about living on the lake, Lake Wawasee. How beautiful is it out here?
It is wonderful. I've always been a water baby, and I'm telling you, this is my favorite place. The sunset, the sailboats when they're out every Sunday. I mean, you just couldn't ask for anything better.
Now, Mark has talked about it. The backyard really becomes the front yard, and the front yard doesn't get quite the attention, but you have just said that there's neighbors that walk by that comment about the landscaping.
I feel it's just as important as what you do to your house. I've always been a big one into landscaping, and this is Mark's second time out here, which is that was how good he was when he originally did the house. So
We were looking at some of the paver blocks. A telltale sign, I think, Deb, is when you come back years later and everything is still level.
and Mark was the one that gave us this idea because we sit under the tree all the time.
This is a great view here.
So you go from the deck to here, and then to the sunroom, and then to the house. So it works out wonderful. It was such a great idea.
Outstanding. Well, it has stood the test of time. And speaking of that, let's bring in Mark, who's been around for a while. I think 35 years in the business now. What do you think, Deb?
Oh my God, they're beautiful. Thank you, dear.
Well, just want to thank you and your husband for allowing the viewers into your yard here and featuring your landscape. And can't thank you enough for the opportunities that you've given both me and my team.
Well, with what you've done, Mark, we're just so proud of it. We really are. You know, you do a unique, you don't do a typical, and that I really like.
Well, thank you.
All right, so we can book another 20-year visit maybe right now?
Got it. You've got it in a heartbeat.
All right, Deb. Thank you so much. Those are beautiful.
They are beautiful. They're going to go right where I see them all the time.
Good job, Mark. Hey, much more coming up on the program. Don't go away. We will be right back.